are back with segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Show with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. And of course, we have Thomas, our special guest here. Now tell me about where the idea came from to start this business, because it's blowing my mind that you would come up with something like this and that I never thought of it.
Thanks. So Chris, what had happened was about 7 years ago, my affluent clients contacted me. They basically said, hey, we have capital, pick and choose some properties downtown that we can fix and flip. And so I identified a couple of properties in Yaletown. They fixed and flipped them, and I made them $1 million fixing and flipping those 2 properties in a calendar year. And so I have family dinner with my mom and 3 older sisters every week. We always talk about real estate, just like every other family usually talks about how expensive real estate is. And so my mom's like, oh, you made your clients $1 million, huh? She goes, I have $30,000. Go make me the same returns. I'm like, sorry, Mom, I can't do anything with $30,000. But same problem. How many people, have some money and they want to invest in real estate but can't? So my mom is like me. She's like a natural born salesperson. So she goes to church, comes back a week later at the next family dinner and says, okay, I got 6 girlfriends. We all have $30,000. Now go make us $1 million. And that was the light bulb moment. How many people have a little bit of money, want to invest in real estate or buy real estate but can't? And how can I solve that problem? And so it was quite interesting is that my co-founder entered a hackathon to put title registry on the blockchain. And they won that hackathon, and they came to me and they presented the idea. And I just said, well, it's going to take a long time for governments to adopt blockchain for title registry. But I said, here's the bigger problem. We look at it as a problem statement. As an investor investing into your company, they always talk about what problem are you solving, and is there a big enough market to solve that problem? And again, majority of the world's population can't buy. So those 6 ladies that were going to invest into a property actually invested into my company, and we raised about $500,000 through friends and family, and we started developing and building out our product.
That is such a great story. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And it's so true that there's been movies made of how friends buy together because they can't each individually purchase something. And this idea, I have a couple questions. Well, first is, what type of properties are you buying, or what kind of properties are your investors getting out of this?
Absolutely. So our platform is actually a marketplace. So we have asset owners that come to us and say, hey, we have a multifamily property that we want to raise capital. They can raise capital the traditional way, going through accredited investors, and then basically paying their fees to those accredited investors to actually loan them the money, or to the banks. So who's making the money on that? The rich and the banks. Banks are making record profits. But how about the little guy? So I go back to my mom again. So my mom immigrated to Canada with my 2 older sisters in 1970. And my father wasn't the best person. And so my mom, in the middle of the night, I have another sister and myself were both born in Canada, in Toronto. But my mom packed us up in the middle of the night and moved us from Vancouver to Calgary to get away from my father. My father found us in Calgary, so we moved to Vancouver. So I've been here in Vancouver since I was 5. But my mom's whole idea of saving money and leaving money in the bank is how she thought she was going to grow her wealth. Just because she was an immigrant coming into another country, not understanding the language and not knowing the opportunities that there were for her, but she just didn't know what that looks like. And a lot of kids and a lot of people don't understand this, which is financial literacy. Mm-hmm. And so a big component to our platform is to teach financial literacy. So when I see a person that has a little bit of money and basically just leaves it in the bank and it gets eaten by inflation, I see my mom. Mm. So if my mom had the platform that we have right now, that she could start investing in real estate, she could have built her wealth sustainably, she could have built it up faster, and maybe gone into the real estate market a little bit sooner than having to actually buy real estate later in life.
And by investing in your company, we, the investors, don't have to deal with the property management and the maintenance and the finding it and the dealing with it and the lawyers and there's so much to do with that. But yet it's real estate. We know it's tangible.
Yes.
You won't lose it, like putting it in the stock market and it could be gone tomorrow. Real estate is tangible and will always be there, always be worth something.
Absolutely.
Can you explain a little bit about that difference?
So real estate has outperformed the S&P 500 over the past 25 years. And it is, you'll see segments of the market or, you'll see property prices drop, you'll see them go back up. But at the end of the day, when you look at it from that perspective, is they're not, with land, obviously, depending on the market and where you're investing or where you're buying is very important. But at the end of the day, it's like our population in Canada just grew to 40 million. You know, the world's population just grew to 8 million. We don't have enough supply, so what's happening is that prices are going up. So the ability to allow, you know, the micro investors to be able to participate is very important. And so for us is that, I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I just lost my train of
all the
thought.
time.
Yeah. So I was going to start running. I'm like, I might as well just stop and then just say. So
Yeah.
it was
The difference of investing in your company through this real estate rather than just the stock market.
Yeah. Okay. I'll start again.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So real estate has outperformed the S&P 500 over the past 25 years. So investing into a property onto our platform, what's very important is that you're not only investing into the property itself, you're investing into the GP, the general partner that's managing the asset. So every deal that comes onto the platform are vetted. So what that means is that we look to see who actually is the developer or the person that's managing the asset and managing the fund is just going to be as important as the property that you're investing into, because you're investing into their experience, what they've done in the past, what their past performances are. You'll get to see all the legal documents. You get to see the performa. You'll get to see you know, their history and educate yourself and be able to pick and choose the assets. You get to see the expected returns. Now, nothing is guaranteed. So as per the security regulators, we have to put risk acknowledgement that you could lose some or all of your money that you invest into this deal. But at the end of the day, if you invest into the stock market, if you're unsophisticated, you can throw $100 in, you can lose $100. With real estate, you can invest in $100. If the market drops by 10%, technically you're only losing 10% of your investment. However, again, real estate has outperformed the S&P 500. Real estate is not something you buy today and literally sell tomorrow. It's something that you buy, you hold it, and you actually collect the dividends. And the other component to that is that if you do get dividends from the property, my recommendation would actually be reinvested into another property so you get compounding interest.
That compounding interest is amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how many properties does Reitium own right now?
Yeah. So Reitium takes no equity in any of the assets on our platform. So again, we are the marketplace. We're like, let's say, for example, we're like Airbnb. Airbnb has a host, and they bring in the guests that want to stay in the properties. So what Reitium is that we have developers or anybody in the real estate industry that have a rental property, and it could be commercial, residential. So they come to us and say, we want to raise capital for our project, and then we bring the individual investors into the deal. And then basically we merge them together, and we want to make sure that we bring great assets onto the platform.
Okay. And so you are vetting these companies?
Yeah, so we actually have a third-party vetting company, so we don't personally vet them ourselves. We have an outside agency that vets these deals so that we remain impartial, so that there's no like special treatment because there's a friend of family or what have you. We want to make sure that we bring great deals because we want to mitigate risk. We can't say that we can do it 100%, but we want to try to do as much as possible.
So do us investors, like when we give you, do we know exactly which properties are okay? We do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So you can go in there, you can search based upon asset type. So short-term rentals, senior housing, student housing, self-storage, bunch. You can see what the expected returns are, so you can pick and choose. Okay, this one has a 16% return, this one has an 8% return, or this one has a time horizon. And what that means is that when they sell the asset, it could be 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, a year. So you can pick and choose the assets now. We are a new startup, so we're just onboarding assets onto our platform. You can invest into certain types of properties, but we will be adding more over the next little bit. And so we want to go and check out to see what we have. Just go on there and then just learn.
What's the best place for us to go on and get more information? Is it your website or?
Yeah, so just go to reitium.com and you'll be able to find everything about the principles of the company. You'll get to find out all the different asset types. There's a little bit of learning in there. We're adding to that because again, the whole component to us is financial literacy. And so we're started off in Canada. We will be moving into the United States most likely by the end of the year.
Wow. So neat. So Curtis, there
Yeah,
you go.
$100. Well, that's the question I guess I would follow up with is like, so you say that there's an 8% return on something. So at the end of the year, you get an 8% return. Does that just get reinvested, or do you get a dividend for that? How does that kind of work?
Yep, you'll get a dividend. Usually they're paid out quarterly, and they're paid out by the issuer, so the asset owner. Reitium, again, doesn't take any participation in that.
Right.
And you can reinvest that into another property, or you can take out that dividend where how you set up your account on our platform, and you actually took the money out of your bank account into the platform. What can happen is that's where they'll pay the distributions, the dividend, or you can just say, hey, I would like to reinvest this into another property.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have to end the show, unfortunately, but we always leave our show with a quote. And Thomas, I would love it if you can give our listeners your quote of the day.
Yeah, great. So I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my whole life. I've been working since I was 13. And a lot of people, an entrepreneur, my co-founder says this all the time. She said, you have to be crazy to start up a company because you have to know everything. There's so many things. You're the janitor, you're the CEO, you do everything. And so for us is that, there are big risks. And what Wayne Gretzky says, what was the quote?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
And so for me, it's like, I don't want to sit back. I want to try, and keep on doing the things that I love. And I'm not the typical guy to work in an office, 9 to 5, work for somebody else. I want to try different things. And for me, that is my excitement. And there's like real estate, you'll get to a point where you're plateau. You'll know pretty much everything you need to know at a certain point in your career. So then it becomes very robotic, very mundane for me. And that's how I saw it. But starting a new company, a startup in a field like fintech or prop tech is very exciting because there are a lot of elements that I didn't know, and I didn't know what I didn't know. So there's it's very exciting to be part of that. But there are so many naysayers and like, oh, why are you starting this? You're doing very well in real estate. You just keep on continuing and keep on doing it. But at the end of the day, for me, I was just like, and I mentioned this to you earlier, is that I'm, if I'm getting a little bit up there in age, and I was thinking about if I was to sell my book of real estate business, I would hope that I could get a 1x return on my book of business. Because at the end of the day, if I retire, what's going to happen is that all my clients are going to go out elsewhere. But in a tech company, you can get a 20, 30x return. And because I love technology and real estate, and I'm merging the two industries together, I'm doing something that I'm passionate about. And so I did really well in real estate, but at the end of the day, I can see that in the future, I could potentially get a 20x return for not only myself, but those 6 ladies of my mom that invested into my company.
And to be a realtor, you are solving problems. You're a problem solver, and that is what you did with this new company. And we humans have to create. We have to make. We're born to always, do something. So this is really exciting because you're not satisfied to just sit back and let life just pass you by. You're gonna take that shot. Every shot you can take. What was that quote again?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
I'm a hockey coach.
Yes.
I use that
Amazing.
one a lot.
Yes. Amazing.
All right, Michele. Well, I guess that wraps things up. If people want more information about your listings and what you do as a realtor and all that, where can they go?
MicheleCummins.ca.
And join us again next week when we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.